Christmas, a traditional Christian festival celebrated all over the world in different ways. For many years now, it has been hyper-commercialized and become an inescapable aspect of Western consumer-based economies. Because of this, many people today aren't sure what exactly to make of Christmas, which aspect to focus on, or whether they should even celebrate it anymore. The overemphasis on gift buying and giving, as well as overindulging, has removed most of the mystery and charm of the festive season for a lot of people. Was there even any mystery to it to begin with? Let's take a brief look at the origins of Christmas. How did it begin? How did the Roman festival of Saturnalia, an early Christian influence, morph into the Christmas celebrations that we know and love today? Stay tuned. Your festive spirit might just be reawakened by the end of this video. Saturnalia, the most popular of Roman festivals. Dedicated to the Roman god Saturn, the festival's influence continues to be felt throughout the Western world, as you'll soon see. Originally celebrated on December 17th, Saturnalia was extended first to 3 and eventually to 7 days, thus leading up to December 23rd, from the 17th. Throughout Roman history, the date also seems to shift. It is always in December, but the climax of the festival shifts from December 25th to the winter solstice, which is around December 21st, and back again. This would depend on the political system and whoever was emperor at the time. During Saturnalia, all work and businesses were suspended. Slaves were given temporary freedom to say and do what they liked, and certain moral restrictions were eased. Towards the end of the festival, presents of candles, wax models of fruit, and waxen statuettes of small figures in wax and other media were given. Saturnalia was overall a jolly time of year for ancient Romans, and celebrations were enjoyed by all. The phrase Io Saturnalia is akin to Merry Christmas and has a strong emotive ritual connotation. The influence of Saturnalia upon the celebrations of Christmas and the New Year have been direct. The fact that Christmas is celebrated on the birthday of the unconquered sun, December 25th, about 3 days after the winter solstice. This religion of the unconquered sun, or cult of the unconquered sun, was a sun religional cult known as Dies Solis Invictinati. This gave the season a solar background, connected with the calends of January, that being January 1st, the Roman New Year, when houses were decorated with greenery and lights, and presents were given to children and the poor. The calends of any month during Roman times marked the beginning of the new month. However, the calends of January marked the beginning of the new year. And as you can see, to this day, we still follow that same pattern, the 1st of January being the first day of our new year. Rome officially became Christian in 313 CE, but the transition from a pagan society to a Christian society was not an entirely smooth one. Customs, traditions, and beliefs were amalgamated into the new Christian society. Saturnalia as a festival was celebrated for around a century after the conversion of Rome to Christianity. The religious aspects of the festival honoring Saturn appear to have been gradually lost, instead becoming a popular festival designed to bring happiness in the bleak winter season. While you can see there have been many influences from Saturnalia on Christmas, it is not quite yet the Christmas we know today. The first recorded Christmas celebration commemorating the birth of Christ dates back to 354 CE. The association between the middle of winter and the birth of Jesus Christ was established in the 2nd century CE. Although Jesus' exact birth date is uncertain, academics have calculated that he might have been born in June or possibly around the spring equinox. That being said, there's no proof that the date of Christmas, which is commonly observed, corresponds to his real birth date. The Roman celebration known as Dies Natalis Solis Invicti, or Day of the Birth of the Unconquered Sun, as mentioned in Part 1, which honors the sun's birth, is most likely the source of the date of December 25th. That date being about 3 days after the winter solstice, which lasts from 20 to 22 December, depending on which part of the northern hemisphere you are in. The belief was that the sun died at this time, being the shortest day of the year in the northern hemisphere, and rose again 3 days later on the 25th. Sounds familiar. The first reference to December 25th as the Nativity of Jesus occurs in a section of the chronography of AD 354, known as the Calendar of Philocalus, which, even by this late date, still identified December 17th as Ludi Saturnalia. It is likely that Christmas traditions and customs do stem from the pagan festival of Saturnalia, even if it is circumstantial, as Christianity became the dominant religion in Rome and overtook the previous pagan traditions. Winter festivals are common around the world, and it makes sense that Saturnalia would have direct influence over the new festival of Christmas in the shifting landscape of the late Roman Empire. Gift-giving, feasting, and a hearty celebration in December could describe either Saturnalia or Christmas. Now, let's look at two of the most iconic and recognizable symbols of Christmas. Many of our Christmas traditions involve plants and evergreen leaves in particular. So where did these traditions come from? Once again, the winter solstice. It is a day between 20th and 22nd of December and is the darkest day of the year in the northern hemisphere. The winter solstice has been celebrated for over 5 centuries, if not longer, in many different ways. It's commonly known as Yule, the longest night of the year. Today, people across the world still gather to celebrate the event, re-embracing the traditions of their ancestors. Yule has its roots in an ancient Germanic and Scandinavian midwinter celebration that began on the night of the winter solstice. Yuletide is an Old English word for Christmas, referring more to the season than the actual day. Originating in paganism and historically observed by the Germanic people, it denotes the months of December and January during the winter season. Subsequently, when Christian beliefs extended throughout the northern European countries, the celebration of Christmas shifted from the winter solstice to the 12 days of Christmas, that is, from December 25th to January 5th. The hazards posed by the winter's darkness and cold, along with the scarcity of food, gave rise to numerous religious rites and beliefs. Our ancestors attributed magical qualities to trees and plants that enabled them to remain green and even bloom during winter. Evergreens were brought into households to symbolize fertility, good luck, and the return of summer, or even to foretell favorable weather or good fortune. Among them were holly, mistletoe, and ivy. Although Christmas trees didn't exist until much later, evergreen branches and Yule logs were carried into homes long before Christmas trees were. Whole trees were originally brought into homes in Germany, however, they were typically modest, set on tables and illuminated with candles and decorated with apples. It is acknowledged that Christmas trees gained popularity in the UK thanks to Queen Victoria and her husband, Prince Albert. Like us, they had big trees that they decked out with ribbons and glass ornaments of vibrant colors, symbolic of apples, and they put gifts beneath them. Santa Claus, legendary figure who is the traditional patron of Christmas in the United States and other countries, bringing gifts to children. His popular image is based on traditions associated with Saint Nicholas, a 4th century Christian saint. According to legend, Nicholas had a generous heart and would wander the countryside tending to the sick and impoverished. Nicholas inherited most of his affluent parents' estate when they passed away. Ever the generous one, Nicholas collected his inheritance and distributed it to the less fortunate while leading a modest life. The festive custom of St. Nicholas was brought to America by waves of European immigration. American society began to acknowledge St. Nicholas around the end of the 18th century. It was said that groups of Dutch families in New York would go together to commemorate Nicholas's life in the month of December, where someone would impersonate St. Nicholas and give out small gifts and candy to children. It has been said that the Dutch nickname Santa Claus, which is a condensed version of Sint Nicolaas or St. Nicholas in Dutch, is where the moniker Santa Claus originated. A noteworthy Christmas poem, an account of a visit from St. Nicholas, was written by Clement Clark Moore, an Episcopal minister for his 3 daughters. This poem later became known as "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" or "The Night Before Christmas." And in this poem we have many accounts of the classic acts that Santa Claus is supposed to accomplish. And the most common and popular images we have of Santa to this day, including the names of his 9 reindeer. Not all legends about Santa Claus are about goodness and kindness, though. There is a darker side of Santa. Krampus, for example, is an Alpine legend, often said to be a companion of the good-hearted Saint Nicholas. His appearance is that of a goat-like demon who will snatch misbehaved children away on December 5th, otherwise known as Krampusnacht, the night before St. Nicholas originally comes to deliver presents to good children. Krampus is loosely translated as claw, and Krampusnacht is still celebrated in Germany. I suppose children are more likely to behave if Krampus is coming to town. Over time, Santa's images underwent numerous changes. Not every image of Santa had a cheerful person wearing a red coat, pink cheeks, and a thick white beard, a large belly, and black boots. Before 1931, Santa was shown as a tall, thin man or an eerie-looking elf in illustrations. At one point in time, Santa's attire ranged from the robe of a bishop to the animal skins of a Norse hunter. The image was further defined by the popular Santa Claus advertisements created for the Coca-Cola Company in 1931 by illustrator Adam Sundblom. Sundblom's Santa was a portly, white-bearded gentleman dressed in a red suit with a black belt and white fur trim, black boots, and a soft red cap, the most iconic version of Santa Claus that we have to this day. So, with all that said, what now? Regarding the actual celebration of Christmas, most, if not all, of the important symbols originate from pagan culture and are mostly outside of Christianity. The Christmas tree, Santa Claus, ornaments, and Yule log all have Norse and Germanic roots. Holly and mistletoe have Celtic roots. Gift-giving originated with the Romans. Christmas caroling has its roots in Anglo-Saxon culture. Certain icons are difficult to precisely attribute to a single culture because they were used by numerous cultures. These include the customary Christmas feast, the 12 days of Christmas, and lights, which originated from the fire festivals of many ancient nations. Christmas has evolved even further from its pagan roots and even its Christian ties to become a time of joy around the world as families come together and celebrate the year that has passed. Saturnalia and other pagan contributions did not simply become Christmas in a linear way, but all influenced each other to mold Christmas into what it is today, and many of its ancient roots linger on. So, who is Christmas for, and who should celebrate it? Anyone who cherishes gathering with loved ones. Anyone who enjoys decorating their home with festive lights and ornaments. Anyone who needs a reason to give someone a gift. Anyone who appreciates a commonality that brings people closer. A reason to start something new. A time of the year that reminds us that the darkness and cold will end soon. That no matter how dark your life is, there is no darkness that the light cannot break. So, embrace the season and be merry. For there is no special day that has mystery, enchantment, and meaning other than that which people give it. Merry Christmas, everyone.